guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account and we are looking at the dev notes. So we know there are going to be a little bit of updates and a little bit of changes when it comes to the Abyssal Expedition going into Season 7. Definitely going to have some updates, guys. So I want to look at the dev notes. I want to break them down because I know a lot of players over on Discord and Reddit have had a lot of comments, a lot of questions, things of that nature. So I'm going to break down my interpretation of the dev notes. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. All right, so here we are, guys. This is the first page of the dev notes. Current season of Abyssal Expedition is much harder than previous seasons, which I know going through the test version or the beta version was definitely a little more stressful and a little more difficult to get through. In this season, there was some difficulty for players, which again, we knew having that underground feature. So they're going to make a couple changes. Now, I don't like when they say light up mechanic. We are considering making lit up magna mines accessible to all guild members. That way it's more convenient for players to arrange paths and avoid having to make detours. So ultimately, guys, going through the bottom part of the Abyssal Expedition was incredibly difficult, especially because of that dim effect. Having to actually fight your way to illuminate some of the paths might be a much needed way to get through here. I know, again, a lot of the top guilds had no problem, kind of breezed through it, knew exactly what we were getting into, but a lot of players that were in the casual version had some difficulty getting through there. By the time they got to the end boss, they didn't have any stamina to go ahead and attack, so they only got maybe through one cycle. I know even some of you guys, unfortunately, didn't even get the final boss down due to one, lack of players within there, and two, being able to have enough stamina to get through there. Shouldn't have been a problem, but again, I've heard from a couple people over on Discord that it was incredibly difficult when you have half of an expedition that is AFK, and it's difficult to make progression, so they were there super late. Now, the Star of Dawn, going forward to make guild deployment and internal cooperation more convenient, it is now possible the flexibility to change the Star of Dawn. So this is going to be very interesting. Now, we know that going into the Abyssal Expedition, you do have 70 players. Of those, 10 can be the Star of Dawn. I think it's 10 or 12. I think 10. But now it seems like if you are a Star of Dawn and they decide, hey, let's say one of your players did go AFK, you can come out of the Star of Dawn, again, from my understanding, to actually start assisting in the Abyssal Expedition instead of just being a spectator and boosting. Love that ability, guys. I absolutely love that ability. It'll be a very cool way to kind of get through here, and it can also be, again, super helpful. Let's say there's an emergency and one or two people of the guild have to go, unable to log on, unable to get into the actual game. You can, again, have some of those Star of Dawn players drop out, and then you can fulfill the need that you've got there. Battle difficulty, given that honorable enrollment has already been tested, they're keeping it the same, which I 110% agree with. They need to keep it the same. It is going to include some extra rewards. We don't know how much additional rewards, but ultimately, guys, because we have already went in there and they've already tested the beta version, we can't go back and reset it. Essentially, they would have to run another beta version if that was some massive changes in there. So again, we're going to have to see exactly what that looks like. Casual enrollment. Now, I love this one, guys. Again, a bunch of players that weren't able to get through there. We've gotten rid of the underground layer dim effect and decreased the difficulty to ensure we bring the best game experience to our valued players. Now, with the casual enrollment, of course, it is not scored. There's not the leaderboards, all things of that nature. If you're playing a casual enrollment, this is a big improvement, in my opinion, guys. Again, being able to get to that boss, being able to fight it, being able to enjoy it. Again, with the casual enrollment, you might have a lot of players that are not so hardcore, not logging in, every couple hours to go ahead and make some movement, maybe take another town or village, so on and so forth. You might have a player that plays once a day or maybe once every other day that still wants to participate in the Abyssal Expedition. So this is going to give them the option to without being, in my opinion, kind of left behind from everything. So even more of a casual player. Then, of course, guys, the boss trial. In response to Call of the Ventures, we previously launched the boss trial. The trial provides a more convenient way for players to test formations and skill casting sequences. Going forward, we'll launch the boss trial 3 days early, so that way players can test it out, guys. Now, I love that they have started to do this. If you've been all the way back to the first Abyssal Expedition, it was really a crapshoot over on the test server on what we'd get when it came to the final boss. So I do like this update as well, that they're actually going to give us the ability to try out comps within the final boss, see what works, test out an incredible amount of stuff. By the time we get to the boss, it'll be ready to go, and we will be full bore on with the damage that we're pouring on there. The second part of this, guys, continues the Abyssal Expedition boss battle. You have to manually operate to score high damage. Now, this is the big, probably sticking point. It's way too tiring. Can you add the auto battle option? Now, we know auto battle has been going to a bunch of different formations. We've seen it on a bunch of different bosses. We originally wanted to make the battle manual operated to increase the cooperation and feel of inclusion participating among the players, but it goes against the goal of providing a relaxing game experience. Now, we have talked about this a lot. So when is AFK Arena not an AFK game? Ultimately, it seems like it has kind of gotten to that point that the game is not super AFK anymore, which is the reason why they've started doing this kind of automated battles that we've seen in there. We also want players to enjoy the formation and position strategy aspect of the game, so we plan to convert this feature into auto battle going forward, which again, going forward, Season 7, I don't believe they're going to, but they're considering doing it in Season 8, so we're going to have to see. Again, there is a lot of guilds that really rely on the strategy aspect of maximizing the damage within the leaderboards, getting those avatar frames, things of that nature, by putting in the time and effort to the Abyssal Expedition versus just going in there, doing the auto battler, just letting it run till essentially you're out of stamina, regardless of the score you get, regardless of the skill that is involved with it. Just really let it going. At the same time, since our players have already researched their formations in the beta season for now, they want to keep it the same. They haven't converted to the auto battle, but they'll consider shutting down the manual battle in Season 8, which of course is going to be very time efficient, I guess. So once you get to a boss fight, you're just going to be able to auto battle, or you'll have to auto battle, which kind of puts everybody on exactly the same level versus just having the manual or the auto battle, or vice versa. It seems like the auto battle might be the way that they're going completely, which in respect to, again, going back to the fact of the AFK aspect of it, Cappuccino handles it perfectly. Game has been holding too many events recently. I have to log in long hours each day, and it's super tiring. Again, this is back to the video that I did a little while ago. Nothing is really about the game at all, which again, I have kind of talked about. When is AFK not an AFK game? Put a big emphasis on the quality of gaming experience of players. Our team received feedback the game is too tiring, takes too long. Analyzing the problem, and this is the following angles that they're looking at. First issue, timing of events. We have seen in probably the recent couple months, there has been an incredible amount of events that they've put in full time, including the treasure scramble, which you don't spend a lot of time in there, but looking at game modes like the Temple Rift, the Rift takes an absolute absorbent amount of time, if not around the same factor, I'd say, of the Abyssal Expedition, if not more time to go through that Temple Rift, to do rewinds, to do the boss comps. Even with the auto battle feature, the Temple Rift still takes an incredible amount of time, guys. I'm about 360 floors in, and again, it takes an incredible amount of time. Even if you're doing the auto battle feature, set the formation, get the badges, make sure the beacons are all good, all of that stuff. It does a lot. It does a lot, and there has been a lot of events. Early stages, several important events come fast and thick. Leads players to have to spend a lot of time working through them early on. Going forward, we'll make sure to space the events out a little bit more. Don't have to spend too much time online per day, but don't worry, this will not affect the total number of events in game. So they are just not going to stack event on event on event on event. They're going to space them out a little bit more, which will be awesome. Any player that runs multiple accounts, you know it is absolute insanity with how many they've been putting out. There'll still be loads of events for players to enjoy and earn rewards from, which I like. Second issue, fact that we increased the amount of permanent gameplay features, and again, this is what we were talking about. Number of events that participate each day has also increased. We'll be paring down some of the gameplay features in the early stages to reduce the amount of repetitive and boring tasks within these features and decrease the amount of time needed to complete tasks each day. So they have looked at a couple different things, currently developing a feature that replaces free arena challenge attempts with challenger tickets. This will allow players more flexibility in planning when they want to challenge in the arena. Also adding the skip option to allow players to skip watching the battles in the Twisted Realm, which will save players time. Now, because we only get 5 battles within the Twisted Realm, might save 45 seconds, maybe a minute, maybe 2 at most. Going through the Twisted Realm, the auto skip option in there doesn't really, in my opinion, make a big difference. You have the auto battle. The battles do not take an exorbitant amount of time to go through there. So to think that we'll save time, not really in a big factor. We'll also be considering paring down the Arcane Labyrinth and Misty Valley. Now, those will be the big ones. Arcane Labyrinth, of course, running the Dismal Maze every 2 days in its entirety. Also, the Misty Valley, it does take a little bit to go through 10 stages. Then you have to wait, run through 10 more stages once it opens. Again, allowing a very easy Misty Valley going through there. It's not incredibly difficult, similar to the Arcane Labyrinth, not incredibly difficult, but it is just very time consuming. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to comment and let us know. Overall, we'll be optimizing and upgrading game content to make good on our original goal with AFK Arena providing a relaxing, leisurely game experience, which is exactly what we are looking for. Very cool, guys. Now, the quality of life aspect in this, and this is why I really wanted to cover it, is when we give a lot of feedback to AFK or Lilith Games, they take the feedback and really, in my opinion, they really take it to heart. Knowing that the game has gotten a lot busier and they've added a lot more content to it, which some players absolutely love. They're also alienating a part of players that do play it for the AFK aspect, which is amazing that they are addressing it here. So guys, that'll do it for the dev notes for today. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.